Tomorrow, you all are availing yourselves of an opportunity the vast majority of Texans never will, having direct contact and interaction with your elected representatives. Some of you have done this very often. Some of you have probably done it a few times. Some of you, this is your first time. I want to take just a very few minutes to talk to you about the importance of tomorrow and the even greater importance of after tomorrow. Tomorrow is important because it reflects a concerted effort from folks like you all across Texas, folks who very simply but genuinely care about their environment, their health, and their quality of life. Folks to tell their elected representatives how important it is to protect our environment, our natural resources, our public health, and our quality of life. To tell them where problems and issues need to be addressed to make these efforts even more meaningful and successful. So go in tomorrow with the resolve to tell anyone who will listen to you what you know, what you've experienced, what you believe, what you suggest. Don't go in and just articulate problems or issues or objections or fears and stop there. Offer solutions to problems and options to address issues. Remember one thing, legislators are not really problem solvers. They don't like problems. They like for solutions to problems and options to address issues to be given to them so that they can then adopt them as their own and take credit for them in solving the problems. Industry reps and lobbyists are masters at this service to legislative members. We in the environmental and public interest community need to become the same. Where you can, give a member real-world examples and experiences of the points you're making. And if you can do that with examples and experiences in their own districts, with their own constituents, they will pay attention. Their understanding will likely increase the closer you connect the problems and issues to their constituents and their voters. Don't be surprised tomorrow if some members won't or don't meet with you. Some will be genuinely busy and not available. Some will simply avoid you. Don't be surprised if instead you get shuffled off to some staffer. And don't be surprised if sometime you don't even get further than the reception desk at the front door to the office. But no matter what, respectfully move forward. Make it known who you are and what your interests are. Leave your name and contact information. Sign the guest register. Leave any informational materials you have and ask that it be given specifically to that member. Offer to follow up with the member if he or she wants that. And if you do get to meet with and interact with a member, don't expect much more than a brief period of respectful attention. You will meet some members friendly to our efforts, some not so friendly, many indifferent. Unfortunately and regrettably, that's to be expected given the current makeup, politics, and philosophies of the Texas legislature, and certainly our statewide leaders. Protection of our environment, our public health, and our quality of life are not high priorities with many of them. Instead, necessary and doable efforts in these regards are routinely foregone in the name of protecting our economy and jobs. Even after all my years of experience in this arena, I still can't understand why one must be sacrificed for the other. They necessarily go hand in hand. But I have hardened to the reality that that is the current culture in Texas among our elected officials. A culture exemplified by the statement of one of our prominent Texas congressmen in talking about the proposed federal legislation on carbon dioxide. He said, it proposes to save the planet by sacrificing the economy. I wonder if that congressman likewise espouses the converse, that it's okay to sacrifice the planet to save the economy. I think he does. Now, in being bluntly honest with you about the processes and cultures that we face in Texas today, and that you're likely to see some indications tomorrow, I don't want to leave you with little or no hope to ever be heard or to ever succeed. No matter what reception you get tomorrow, don't be afraid to continually raise issues, concerns, objections, ask questions, write letters, file complaints. When possible, band together, pool resources, and speak and act with a stronger, more unified voice. Challenge the status quo. Come to Austin, both to the TCQ and the legislature. Be seen, be involved, be heard. You have a right to meaningfully participate in all their processes and to be heard. The TCQ and the legislature are supposed to be public servants. They work for you and me. Don't ever let them forget that. Demand a cleaner and healthier environment, and when you feel you're not getting appropriate or satisfactory attention or response, work to effectuate change at every step of the process, even at the ballot box. People who are supposed to be public servants who don't serve the public, who elected them, need to be replaced with those who will. So let me wrap up and leave you with a very brief story to emphasize why after tomorrow is so vitally important. Once upon a time in ancient China, there was an old man with his wife and children. They lived together very simply and humbly beside a great mountain. Every day, the man and his children had to climb over the mountain to bring back precious water from a spring on the other side of the mountain to provide for their sustenance and their needs. One day, the old man decided that he would move the mountain. So he started chipping away at the rock, piece by piece, with a simple hammer and chisel. The people in the village laughed at him and said, "Old man, why do you think that you can move that mountain?" The old man smiled and replied, "I do not. But I had children, and my children will have children, and they too will have children." The old man didn't expect to move the mountain, but he knew that little by little, consistent and sustained action would bring about the change which he desired. For him, it didn't matter that he would never see the end of his great task, but he knew that it would benefit the generations who came after he had gone. So take from this message one of very consistent and regular action, chipping away at the task at hand, always committed to the goal without being attached to the goal itself. Don't give up after tomorrow, after the session, 6 months from now, a year from now. Just learn what actions are required to effectuate the changes that we need and take those actions regularly, day by day, week by week, year by year. One day, the mountain will move.